Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever live stream. Now, we're gonna wait for a few minutes to see if people actually join, and then we will have our introduction. So, that number goes up.
Okay. Got a like
We got a like.
mm-hmm.
Nice.
and a comment.
Who said what?
I don't know.
All right. Hey, all right, guys. Now that we got people coming in and liking the video, what's up, guys? I'm Star Brother. This is
GeneralPika22.
Today we'll be doing a Star Wars versus Star Trek debate on which one is better. General Pika will be taking the role of Star Wars, and I will be taking the role of Star Trek. The way we will be doing this is I'll have up different points like space combat, ground combat, and just different areas of what people in the past have brought up during debates, and we will debate about them, seeing what they are. All right. So for the first point, we'll be doing ground battles. And which faction will you be picking?
Clones.
The clone troopers. All right. I will be picking the Klingon warriors. Now, in your opinion, what do you think that a clone trooper would have over a Klingon warrior?
Firepower.
I'd have
And numbers.
I'd have to disagree. I mean,
That's better.
the similarities strive that the Klingons do actually produce clones. They have made clones before. So I would have to disagree that. The problem I'm having with clone troopers defeating Klingons is that Klingons are stronger, have a physical body more. Now, do you think a Klingon disruptor could penetrate a clone trooper's armor?
No.
You don't think it could penetrate a clone trooper's armor?
I don't know what that even is.
A Klingon disruptor is a type of It's a type of gun, the weapon, mainly disruptor rifles or disruptor pistols.
Well, once the clones get up the shield, and all they have to do is spawn on cannons.
All right, I mean, clone troopers definitely do have the advantage with artillery. We definitely see that. But the problem we have with ground forces is that the main thing is going to be ship to ship. Because the problem we have with ground forces is that we don't really get them fleshed out very much a lot. So what we have is we have this diverse. We see all the ships, but we never see any space combat. I mean, ground combat.
That's why I see Star Wars has a win on that.
All right, so okay, now here's the big part of the debate: ship-to-ship combat. Pick an era: Clone Wars or Rebellion.
I say Rebellion.
All right, then which faction: Empire or Rebellion?
I just said Rebellion.
Well, which faction?
Rebellion! Are you
All right.
deaf?
I'm gonna go with the United Federation of Planets, preferably Starfleet. Okay, so let's see what we got for the Rebellion. We got the Mon Calamari cruisers, which is one of their biggest ship. What we mean is by rebels that we mean every ship they had. This is an alternate timeline where every ship they had has never been destroyed in canon and legends. So that means ships like Rebel One, the modified Providence class, and Phoenix 1, the Pelta, and Phoenix 1, the Quasar, which were in two different eras,
They
meet.
just do all ship from Empire, Rebel, and Clone Wars.
Oh, it's just one big Star Wars fleet of every
Yes.
faction. Alright, so we got Star Destroyers, Mon Calamari Cruisers, Venators, and things like that. Well, I'm going to be doing, okay, what tactics would you employ?
I don't know, like, destroy them.
Now, what do you think that the Star Wars universe has that could beat a Star Trek ship?
Thrawn.
I definitely would agree with that. I definitely would agree that it's not the ships themselves that they have a problem with. It is the people that they have.
I know what to do. Thrawn makes a clone of himself, and one of them sneaks onto the laundry ship, but switch all the clothes with red, and put them in the battlefield. Boom. They win. All red chips.
It works.
Dies.
It works. But in all seriousness, the tactics I would employ is a basic dagger type tactic.
I'll put Thrawn in a cloning machine and just clone him and put a clone of Thrawn in each ship to each section to use an attack.
Well, see, the way I would do it is I would do a simple dagger tactic. Now, the Federation have been known as one of the only fighters that have one of the only factions that actually have qualified fighters, the Peregrine class. So what I would do is that I would have a straight dagger. I'd put my Mirandas, Excelsiors, and ships that I have abundance of in front of my bigger ships, like my New Orleans class, my Galaxy class, my Prometheus, and all those. Then, in the middle of the fleet, I'd have all my carriers. I would keep launching simultaneous fighters. Now, the problem I would run in with is that the Rebellion. Since you have the Rebellion, you know that they're going to be bringing starfighters to they're going to have their X-wings and their Y-wings, their B and A wings. So I would certainly think in Starfighter Corps, I think the Rebellion has it. They would win Starfighters.
Yeah, and with the recent introduction of the BB units having more protection, and if the human dies, the BB units have more protection in the Y wings.
Right, and I would definitely
So,
think
yeah.
well, the problem I would have now, the problem that you would come up with is that okay, now you dominate starfighters, but how do you get past shields? Remember, Star Wars has turbo lasers as their main ship-to-ship combat. How would you say go up against a flotilla of you have two New Orleans class coming up at you? How would you get your ship ready?
I don't know what they got.
New Orleans class are light attack frigates. They bring a lot of firepower, but they can't take many hits.
I would destroy them.
What I mean is that you're coming here and you have two coming here. How would you do that? And you have two squadrons of fighters. What would you do?
I will put some gravity connectors on each side. Let them go up to gravity connectors and just bomb them.
It's a good strategy. That's a good strategy. What I would do is that the problem with the Star Trek ships is that Star Wars would completely outnumber us. While the Federation has numbers of ships, the problem is that they're not meant for combat. And that's where I would fall. That's where I would fall, and Star Wars would be a little bit better.
The problem with the more of the better debates, they only do one section. When we mean by Star Wars versus Star Trek, we mean all Star Wars ships, not just Clone Wars versus Star Trek.
And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing in this debate.
We have Rebels. Unfortunately, the stupid Jar Jar species. Unfortunately, we have
Well,
those.
the problem I would have is that the one thing I would be very much afraid of are your light Corvettes. You know, the CR-9D and
Yes.
those things I would be very much, because they're smaller.
And by Star Wars, I don't just mean canon. I also
Right,
add
Legends. You see, here at Star Brother, we don't have. We're more of a Legends guy here. Well, while we like the new canon, we prefer Legends.
Well, I don't really care.
Oh, he doesn't care. I prefer Legends. But the problem the problem that I would have with the Corvettes is they're light and fast, and they can take a couple hits. I mean, trust me, the Tantive 4 went along a pretty long time off screen against the Darth Vader Star Destroyer before it came on screen. We saw the tail end of the fight. There's no telling how long that CR-90 Corvette took as many hits. Not to mention, the Star Destroyer would have to take down its shields. So, the way I would combat this is that I would realize pretty early on that I could not send my starfighters out to equally fight your starfighters, because first of all, I would know that you have designated fighters. Like your Y-wing is your bomber, and your X-wing is your all-purpose fighter. Your A-wing is your interceptor.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with Star Trek is that we don't have that. We have one. We have the Peregrine class, and then runabouts. Runabouts can be your bombers. So we have two. We don't have an interceptor, and we don't have a multi-purpose fighter. We just have our Peregrines. So what I would do is I would do a screening tactic. I would wait for your bombers to come in, and then I would attack them. Then wait for your escort fighters to come in, then attack them. While they're distracted, then I would take my runabouts and go bomb them. But the one thing I would have a problem with is your Mon Calamari ships.
Yeah, those will really do a toll.
Well, the problem is because of that is their overlapping shields. The Mon Calamari are aquatic species, and most of their rebel ships were from underwater. So that means their shielding is adapted to pressures. So that means with that overlapping shields, I could take down one shield generator, and another shield generator is going to come up.
Because the pressure of the water will break a shield.
Right. So there's multiple layers of shields. So that's what I would have. To dissipate that and to counteract that, I'd set my Excelsiors in. They're fast, they're light, and they're basically cannon fodder, basically. Which are just ships I can throw in and they can be destroyed easily. I would send them in and I would do a ship-to-ship combat. Now the one thing that now I'm having a hard time rationalizing how I would fight your Imperial class Star Destroyers.
Yeah, those can do a toll and get told.
They can take a beating, they can surely dish it out.
They're tanks.
They're tanks, basically. Now, it would all depend on what I'm going up in. If I'm going up against an Imperial run, a 1, I'm probably going to send in my Galaxy class.
Every single one.
Well, you gotta remember there are two different variants of the Imperial class.
Yeah, version 1 and version 2.
Right. If I was going up against a 1, which has point defense cannons, I wouldn't send my fighters in. I'd probably use a Galaxy class. Send that in, because that one can take a beating. If it was an Imperial 2, I wouldn't be so worried about sending my fighters in, but I wouldn't keep them in there long.
I'm doing both. So, yeah.
Well, you have a very much advantage if you go against my TNG era ships. Because my TNG era ships have no anti-fighter start ability.
Not just
one era. We're going all eras, right?
Yes.
And the problem now, you will run up against a little bit like the Klingon, the 4 Years War era. They do have turrets, torpedo turrets.
Look towards the camera.
They act as anti-torpedo, which they could be retrofitted for anti-starfighter.
Like, look towards the camera, but talking to them, not me.
Talking to both of you.
So you're mainly looking at me, not the camera.
All right. All right, Colin. Next thing.
What?
So, you've ripped through my first line. You've torn through my Mirandas and my Excelsiors. Well, what would be your next step? Now you're going up against my big boys, my Nebulas, my Galaxies, my Constitution classes. How would you combat those?
I don't know what the weapons are.
Photon torpedoes, quantum torpedoes, phaser and phaser cannons.
I don't know what. Nothing of those are.
They're torpedoes. They track.
I would send a bunch of small TIE fighters out.
You get in there and water my flower.
Okay.
Now. It's dying.
Okay, I didn't know.
What do we have for supper?
Spaghetti.
Yeah, I like spaghetti.
Colin, keep telling them your thing while I'm watering the plant.
I'm gonna wait for
I
you.
need lots of water.
All right, I'm getting 3. Talk about your channel while I'm gone.
What, baby?
What baby?
Well,
What you doing, baby?
I have my own channel.
Who are you talking to?
Live. We're live. Can you get this?
Who are you live with?
YouTube. Doing a live stream.
And is anybody watching?
2 people.
I'm making smoothies! I gotta go take a big poop!
Ignore him. Please. Just ignore him.
Everything come out okay, Michael?
I'm sorry for that very rude interruption.
Can you get the effects off, please?
I don't wanna. Fine, we'll do this. We'll do silver. Please.
Hey, can you get the door? Can you please get the door?
I'm
Nice sketch.
making smoothies!
Okay. Oof.
Don't cut your finger off.
Let's get this bubble. Do bubbles.
Ain't nobody watching you.
Yes, there is.
You're gonna get more people now that I'm home.
I feel we're going to get less. Now that you're home. Sorry for that very rude interruption, guys.
What's that?
Please ignore him. Please ignore it. What do you hear in the background?
This is the most fun you've had on your whole.
Now back to what I was saying. Before I was rudely interrupted. I have my own channel now.
Alrighty, guys, I'm back.
And
Do you like my smoothie?
Alright, guys, so as I was saying, okay, Colin, General Pika, you've broken through my line of Mirandas, Excelsiors, and light ships. You're going up against my heavier ships. Remember, this is your last line before your easy pickings. Once you get to those carriers, you basically destroyed my whole fleet. All right, so what are you gonna do? Who are you gonna send in?
I'll again use the gravity.
So you would be using those interdictor cruisers.
Yes, I'll send the gravities out around your fleet and pull them, like break them apart.
All right, so you would heavily use interdictor cruisers.
Yes.
So in order to accomplish what you were doing, you would at least need a couple dozen quasars and a couple dozen interdictor cruisers.
Yes.
Would you bring any hero ships like Rebel 1 or any ships like those?
I don't know.
I believe my DeLorean.
Rebel 1 is a modified Providence class that was used by the early stage of the Rebels.
Yes, I would. So, first I'll just bomb them with bombers.
Alright, so, okay, which admiral would you bring? Radis or Akbar?
Thrawn.
Thrawn. Alright, you're going to bring Grand Admiral. You're not even going to bring a Mon Calamari Admiral, you're just going to bring Thrawn.
Oh, I will. But I'm bringing Thrawn.
But, okay, you need a backup admiral.
Olive Akbar.
Admiral Akbar?
Yes.
Okay, so you keep Radis back. Alright, so if I had to pick an admiral, I'd probably pick Enterprise E. Picard. Because with his tactical genius, he's a lot better tactical-wise than Enterprise D. Picard. So, the first thing I would do is I would reinforce. I would bring all my remaining fighters and surviving Mirandas and light ships, and fill in holes. I try to patch up where there are openings in my fleet.
And of course the.
I want to suck your blood.
Of course I'll bring my gravity.
Right.
Bring my part.
Michael, you come help me find my teeth.
Please ignore him.
Yes, please ignore him. Hey, we got Nilla Gamer in here. What's up, Nilla? Everyone comment so I can give you all a shout out.
The more you comment, the better.
Oh yeah, and
Michael, I need you to help me find my teeth.
and please drop. Hey, we got Nilla first. Oh, and please drop a like on the stream. All right, so we got Nilla. What's up, Nilla?
Michael, the dog's got my teeth. You want me to?
It's high noon. Nilla said that. It's high noon.
Please tell other people so we can get more
Right,
people.
spread the word about the live stream.
And we would try to make another channel just for live streams.
Who knows?
Like we look out for another channel of ours. Oh yeah. Put in the comments whether you on Star Wars or Star Trek.
Nilla, you missed us talking briefly. Clone troopers versus Klingons. We determined that clone troopers would win. Barely they would win, but they would. I think, just to briefly, I think the clones would win, but not without suffering heavy casualties. I think the Klingons wouldn't have gone down without a fight.
I want to go back to the ground troops after we finish up with the.
All right. So you have the.
Michael! A stormtrooper just shot the dog and ran off with my teeth.
How did the stormtrooper hit? It can't hit anything.
Again, please.
It's my dang dog, and it took my teeth.
Why would a stormtrooper need your teeth?
And it's toothless.
I'm sorry.
I'm really sorry.
I'm really sorry.
Dang Darth Vader wants them.
Please.
It's ignore him.
Please annoy him.
Dang it, Darth Vader, take my teeth.
Okay, let's try to get serious again.
I'm sorry about that.
All right. So, let's look up at your fleet composition. Since we looked at mine, we'd look at yours. So you... Okay. Okay, so we know we got Nilla. Who else is watching the stream? I want to know who's else watching the stream so I can give you all a shout out.
If you have channels,
Let's go.
we're gonna get a shout out.
Oh yeah, and make sure that Nilla's leaving. All right.
Bye.
Bye, Nilla. Make sure you guys vote. Which side are you voting for? Star Wars or Star Trek? If you were in this debate, who would you root for? And debate it out in the comments as well. If you guys want to debate in the comments, that's fine with
No
me.
comments. It's a chat.
I'm sorry. Debate it out in the chat. Debate out in the chat whether you like. Alright, so your fleet composition, judging from your tactics, I wouldn't specify you probably wouldn't have very many Clone Wars era ships. You probably have like a couple Venators to act as carriers, but I assume your carriers will probably be more Quasar because they can carry more. Am I correct?
I guess. I'll just go for, to get them out of the way and slowly go around killing all the ships.
Right, so you'd
Destroying
be
them.
just slowly encircling them.
Yes, when I surround them, I'll just keep bombarding them with bombers, X-Wings, Y-Wings, to destroy their fleet.
I can definitely agree that you would have that because of the numbers. Starfleet only had about 10,000 ships at most, when we know Palpatine had over 100,000 regular Imperial Star Destroyers. That's not including Corvettes, Super Star Destroyers, and heaven knows how many super weapons he had.
Oh no. Oh no. Not that again.
Michael, will you quit talking to your little friends? Come get Darth Vader and get my glass and my teeth back. I ain't gonna be able to eat my little onions tonight.
I'm crying, man. Trying to have a serious stream and all this. I'm trying to have a serious live stream and all I hear.
I'm serious, dude. I think Princess Leia and Luke are all jealous because Darth Vader got my teeth. And he got no dog because he shot him.
Oh, we will try to have a good evening, Nilla. I was coming back.
Okay, once I surround them, I'll...
You might want to go watch NASCAR.
Go watch NASCAR!
I don't care!
It's exciting. They go down the street, they make a left-hand turn.
I'm sorry about
They go
this.
straight again, and they make a left-hand turn.
Alright guys, we're gonna end the stream here. Part 2 will be up later. Hopefully when we get a bit more quiet.
And serious.
And
Look, you
seriousness.
come at me by my teeth.
Doesn't help.
Have a great evening guys. Thank you for dropping by. And we'll see you all in the next one.
My name's Jim Bob. I'll be here all day.